Hi everyone, today we're talking about William Afton, one of the most iconic characters to come out of the FNAF franchise. Although, recently he's been mostly taken by the community as a joke, and to be fair, quite a funny one. I'm not really against the wheelchair jokes, in fact, I kinda like them, it's just that I feel like we need some more serious takes on him. Yes, I'm one of the few people who actually liked his return in Security Breach, even though the glitch trap situation is a bit confusing. But you know, this franchise is the confusing one, so it's pretty on brand. So why do I like the new burn trap? Well, let's go back to the roots first. One of the first lines that we hear about Springtrap is, "He will come back." He always does. We have a place for him. And so, when he came back from the dead once again, the community decided that his place was in memes. Seriously though, think about it. This man died in a robot rabbit suit, but came back as a rotting Terminator, was burned in that form, but lived through his sheer will to live. Awesome writing rate. He got burned again, this time with no way to escape, got sent to his personal hell with every monster that he helped create killing him over and over and over again, yet managed to somehow store his consciousness on a piece of tech from that suit he was wearing, became a virus and controlled a person's mind to take control of an entire giant mall of robots and rebuild him in a physical form once again. Also, he killed a lot of children while doing all that. That's a lot of death that he caused and avoided. Isn't that a cool gimmick for a villain? To know that no matter what, he will come back. He doesn't even know why he's doing it at this point. He just lives to serve pain to others, while also being in constant pain. The finish line is a cursed place for him. Now tell me that isn't a cool villain. So now I'd like to talk about another one of the character's most important aspects, his design. And let's not lie to ourselves, the original Springtrap design is one of the coolest, if not the coolest in the entire franchise. All of his insides showing through the old damaged suit mixed with complex spring lock mechanisms will never be a not unsettling. Now Scrap Trap, on the other hand, well, I'll just let you watch Random YouTuber Suggestion of the Day! The Oof Troop's video on his design and how it could be improved. The Oof Troop is also the creator of one of the best fan-made FNAF projects of the last few years, an undeniably canon FNAF timeline. That series is just plain hilarious. Definitely go sub after this video, of course. Glitch Trap's design is just neat for a non-robot version of Afton's suit, which he probably used to kill the children. So now we're finally ready to get into Burn Trap's design, and I'll be honest, I really like it. It just makes you feel like what you're looking at shouldn't by any means be alive, but it is. The red veiny things that don't even look human anymore are scattered on parts of his body. The suit is literally barely there, exposing the endoskeleton and those veiny flesh things. And I must say, I'm really on board with that mask shape, which only covers the upper half of his head, showing more of his skull or face. And I believe that design reminds me of some Joy of Creation thing. Oh, and his skull design for his head also looks really creepy. I'm not entirely sure how Vanny got it, since even Springtrap's head was less human. Another important thing I noticed about the design is that because it uses some parts similar to the Glamrock Endos, it really has a more sci-fi and technical feel than the previous two, which honestly fits this era of FNAF. So with all that said, I actually think this design is up there with some of the best in the franchise. Of course I like the original more, at least because I'm more used to it, but this one is the best one they could make for the direction that the games are going in. Speaking of that direction, what could Steelwool do with Afton in the future? I'm honestly not entirely sure what I'd like to happen to him, but I believe there are two ways this can go. The first one being that they somehow kill him off without really showing it, so he can be back again somehow. And I know what you're thinking, bringing William back again? Seriously? Now hear me out. I feel like that is possible to do without it feeling forced. Just return him later. Seriously. Instead of just shoving him immediately into the next game, give him some time, some hints that he isn't dead, hype him up, and only then, in like 2 games, bring him back so it feels deserved. Although the return would need to be really grand and well executed. But you can imagine how cool it would be. Let's get into the second option. Kill him off, like for good. And you're probably thinking, but how do they make sure we know that he won't just come back again randomly as cheese trap or something? That's actually not that hard. Just in a cutscene, make someone like Gregory or Vanessa ask, for example, Freddy, but what if he lived? So then, the other one would respond, he didn't. This time, he will not come back. Sounds scuffed? Well, how about a more classic FNAF trope? Somewhere on an ending screen after defeating Burntrap, make it so that when you brighten up the image, there's a text saying, he won't come back, or something like that. This would be a neat tribute to the old days of FNAF, and a good way to tell us that we can finally move on from the Afton era. So before we get into the conclusion, remember that finish line from the thumbnail? Awesome writing, Ratey. I was partially inspired to make this video by a recent song about Afton from Nate Wants to Battle called Always Come Back. It really gave me a new view on Afton's return and security breach. There are many lines that focus on how much people like Henry and Michael tried to do to stop William, and yet he still comes back in the end. There are also lines like, all the pain and all the anger is my only home, which is most likely how he feels in this new form. And of course my favorite one that I put on the thumbnail and part of the script, the finish line's a cursed place. And the coolest thing is that it ends with Michael's line from one of his first ever FNAF songs. It's literally the perfect Afton song. I definitely recommend listening to it to any Springtrap fans or FNAF fans in general. I'd even say that it's probably on par with Afton Family. So now, let's finally get into the conclusion. I want to say that regardless of what Steelwool will decide to do with Afton in the future, he will always remain one of the coolest villains in video game history, and we FNAF fans will always come back to discussions about him, because after all, without William Afton, none of the events in the FNAF universe would even happen. Wait a second, did I just make a well-structured video with a message? No, it can't be. I gotta make a silly argument about why Afton is so cool. Oh right, he's got a clown design!